first annual Golden Awards banquet.
We've been promising everyone no speeches, so attention, please.
While the ceremony begins, let's join Harvey Dinneroff as he interviews our Master of Ceremonies.
What's your full name?
Bud Hester. My name is really Harry Hester, but I don't go by it as far as in the industry. I pretty well stick to the Bud Hester.
How long have you been in the industry?
I've been in a little bit over 30 years now. So I'm a newcomer compared to these old gentlemen.
Where did you start?
Disney's.
And you stayed with Disney until you came to the union as a business agent?
Yes. I've been a business representative for the last 5 years, and up to that point, I've been with Disney most all of the time.
What was your position at Disney?
I have been a key assistant to the 9 old men. Most of the time I've spent with Ollie Johnson and with Milt Call as far as working in the Disney studios.
And you just got reelected as business rep?
Yes, I have another 3 years to serve as a business rep for 839.
And what do you think of this whole thing?
Oh, I think it's great. It's too bad that it didn't happen long ago, and we should have started honoring those that had only 10 years in it. And if we'd have started back in the 40s, then we would have been up to date with it.
The next I would like to introduce is Tom Yakutis, who's our ex-president of Local 839. Tom?
And Harvey will be back with more interviews later.
I get to do the announcements. Loudly? Loudly, I get to do the announcements. First of all, there are a lot of people worked on this program, and we all deserve all the credit we can get for it. Dory especially, because it was her idea. Art Scott, who's not here with us tonight. Art had a lot to do to help us on that.
1, 2, 1, 2.
And when we were first getting organized, 2 guys that were a great deal of help to us were George Grand Prix and Dave Dietich, who are not with us tonight. And we're getting a lot of help from Harvey Dinneroff, who is helping us with all of the interviews. And initially getting started, Johnny Fitz-Jones was a great deal of help. She's not here tonight. George Sakara, who designed the pins that the 50-year people. And Bud designed the trophies. Is that right, Bud? They're very handsome trophies, which you'll see shortly. And the work was all done by Bud's staff. Jeff Massey and Lynn Ferris, Arlene Hoffman, and of course, and Bud, of course, Karen and Bob Storr. And we have a couple of roaming cameramen around here. We have Floyd Norman, who's taking pictures, and we have and we have Bob Starr, and Ruben Apodaca and his son are taking still photographs. And the decorations, we had a lot of decorations, but they wouldn't fit on the table. But we're still billing Warner Brothers for them because Hal Gare very generously offered to pay for the decorations. So you should all give Hal a big hand. And I'm sure you've all noticed when you came in that there were some bright lights in the back. We're taping interviews with all of the honorees. And when this, the program part is over, please, any of you honorees who have not yet been interviewed, don't go home till we get your interview, because we want to get them all. And all this is going into an archive that we're starting at the Union of all old photographs, interviews of all the old-timers, mementos, old model sheets, old caricatures. None of this will be used commercially, but it'll just be used for the benefit of the members of the Union. And so, if any of you have any old photographs or any mementos of any kind, lend them to us, we'll copy them and return them, or leave them to us or something. But we really do want to build this archive for the animation industry, which does not yet exist. Yeah. Also, a lot of people ought to have been invited that weren't. And if there were any oversights, and there have been a lot of oversights, there's only one person responsible for that, and that's me. And you're all supposed to say how big and noble of him to take the blame. Yeah. Next year, we're having another banquet, and the people that we forgot this year will be honored next year, and I'm sure the people we forgot next year will have to be honored the year after that, and we can keep this going for a while, hopefully. We have a lot of people who have only been in the business 49 years, rather than the necessary 50 years. We call that the junior auxiliary, and we'll get them next year. We have a notice here from a woman called Edith Vernig from Atlanta City, and she said she wanted to come, but her pacemaker was running low. And she sends loves and kisses. Do we have a Okay. There's a representative here from the New York local, John Gentilla. John Gentilella. And he has brought with him from New York something that he wants to show us. So if he can fight his way through the throng there, well.
We want to know why I shouldn't stand up. .841 would like to thank you for this. 841 would like to thank you for sending me out here to enjoy your group today. And also I'd like to present this momentum to your local. To your president. Actually, I swiped that gag from Jimmy Durante. Remember when that fly was on his nose? He says, just for that, everybody off.
Thank you, Johnny. For your very thoughtful award.
Okay, now, when you all came in, you were given a program. Boy, have we got extra programs, and they're for sale at $3 each. And we plan on retiring on the money we make off of those programs, but they're for sale at the entrance. Jack Ozark wanted, Jack, did you set anything up for the group picture? Gary Owens. Oh, okay, Gary Owens will take care of that announcement. So I'm all through. The only thing is, please, you people who are being honored, honor us that haven't been interviewed yet. Honor us by coming back at the end of the program and having your interviews put on tape, because this is very important to us. That's why we're really throwing this whole affair, is to get pictures of you all, and for our own sake. Thank you very much. That's it.
Thank you, Tom. Being that we are never really speakers or anything, I don't even know how to really go about introducing this gentleman. Other than the fact, I think that almost everyone, especially those that live in beautiful downtown Burbank, will remember him. I think the easiest way to introduce him, it is an honor and a privilege, to introduce Gary Owens.
Thank you very much, Bud. I think this was built for Orson Welles' stomach, the way this microphone is, to kind of creep up on it here. That's very good. Yes, this is Toluca Lake, but it's almost beautiful downtown Burbank. Tom was saying that we should comment about anybody who wasn't invited tonight. Joel Wax phoned while we were here. He wondered why you didn't invite Dan White here. He's a little upset about it, but maybe next year. You never know. I would like to point out some of the door prizes we didn't have a chance to get to a few moments ago. The Lenny Bruce Memorial Scrabble game with the 4 extra sets of Fs. We'll be giving that away in just a moment. Bob Clampett won that last year. Remember when you won it, Bob? And the LP, we have a couple of albums donated by KPRZ that we couldn't play on the air. The Sergeant Preston of the Yukon Writes His Name in the Snow. And the beautiful love theme from Rosemary's Baby Eats a Pamper. It's not too wonderful, actually. Really, it's such a pleasure to see so many friends out here tonight. Art Scott, indeed, as Tom pointed out, and Bud also pointed out, is under the weather tonight, and I think we're partly responsible. He had a party about a week ago. We had a hot day. It was about 90 degrees, which was unusual for the rest of the country, and invited us all over to his place to jump into his jacuzzi. There were about 5 of us here, went over, and he doesn't have a jacuzzi, which was a little embarrassing. So his wife slipped an Alka-Seltzer in his shorts and pushed him into the pool. And we had to pretend that he had a jacuzzi, and he caught the flu from that. But Art is a wonderful poet, as you know. He's at Hanna-Barbera and a wonderful man. He's done so much for so many people. So he's given me a poem to read here tonight. It's very brief, also very succinct. If first you don't succinct, try again, I believe. Welcome one and all to over 2,000 years of animation. It's simple mathematics based upon the honorees of this celebration. 41 men times their 50 years of pencil-pushing action multiplies into an answer of 2 grand plus 50 of grand cartoon attraction. It's not through yet. Since the turn of the century, animation has been on the move up into the 20s when it became of age and into the 30s when it got into the groove. By Art Scott. That's very well done, Art, and give him a round of applause here. We're all waxing a little poetic right now, and this gathering, of course, is part of history, and that's what this is all about, a get-together to honor all of the wonderful people who were part of animation and the golden glories. So right now, to start off the evening, I'd like to let you know what's in store, and what better way can we do that than to introduce someone whose name is Store, of course, the recently installed Local 839 president, the lovely Karen Store. Karen, if you'll come up here, please. Would you like to stand on me?
Good. Oh, I thought it went out.
Well, the lights are out. Now that we're alone, the lights are out. I don't know what's happened here, my dear.
It wasn't meant for me to read my speech.
Is there a studio electrician in the house? Different local? What local is that? There we go. There, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It's going to be a little difficult following Mr. Gary Owens since I am not a speaker, but I'm going to try. An ancient proverb states that kindness to others creates convenience for oneself. The convenience referred to is the very convenient idea of enjoying one's work immensely. What satisfaction you, the pioneers of the animation industry, must feel in the knowledge that you have contributed so greatly in bringing the gift of laughter to countless millions of people for 50 years. Just the other day, my daughter, 5-year-old Sarah, invited the little boy next door to watch cartoons on our TV. His whoops of unrestrained glee completely captured my thought and attention, carrying me back to that carefree time. It wasn't too difficult to remember being so taken by the magic of animation. It was then and there I realized the truth of the phrase, squeals of sheer delight. It is the magic of animation that has similarly delighted all of us at one time or another and helped ease our burden through times of depression, war, and adversity. Who cannot be lifted out of the who cannot be lifted out of the occasional letdown if one has Goofy, Bugs Bunny, Fred Flintstone, Fat Albert, or similar friends to offer us a helping hand and a lighter sense of ourselves. Ours is an industry based on magic, which really means wisdom, knowledge. What wisdom to pass on that knowledge to the young people of our industry. I know certainly that many have come tonight not only to honor you, but to thank you personally for what you have unselfishly shared with them. Hooray for the magic. Hooray for the kindness you have done to all of us gathered here. Hooray for the convenient time to express my personal gratitude on behalf of myself and my family. And especially hooray for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karen. You're probably saying, what is this guy? Of course, I know you want to get out of here so you can run home and watch the reruns of Laugh-In at 11 tonight on Channel 9. So you're saying, what is that guy with a mustache doing up there talking to a group of animators? Well, I was really a cartoonist long before I ever got into radio or television, and that's still my first love. Somewhere along the line, I went criminal and got into this other business. But I've done over 1,000 cartoons as the voice of cartoons with Disney and Hanna-Barbera and pantomime pictures. First cartoon was Roger Ramjet back in 1965. And then, remember Roger Ramjet? Take 2 proton energy pills and call me in the morning. Take 2 lizards and call me in the morning. That's what my witch doctor told me. But my first job in Hollywood was working for Jay Ward as a writer. And there were a number of us who were writers back at the time of Bullwinkle, Fractured Flickers. And Alan Burns was one of those writers at that time who later went on to create Mary Tyler Moore, Room 222, Lou Grant, some of those kind of shows. So I've always been bitten by the bug of animation. During my wonderful period with Hanna-Barbera, which is still going on, we did Space Ghost and Dynamite, Perils of Penelope Pit Stop, a lot of those fun, Johnny Quest and the promos and those kind of things. So it means a lot to me. My whole life has sort of been a cartoon. In Denver, which I guess each of you know, in Denver years ago, my first television job, I'd do radio in the morning and then I'd do television in the afternoon. And would do a daily 1 to 1:30 children's show, which is not particularly a great time to do, although we would host cartoons and put on Popeye and so on later in the day. And then at 2 o'clock, it was my job to do a newscast. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of validity from a man dressed in a clown suit at 1:30 and then to dress in a 3-piece suit at 2 o'clock telling you what had happened in the news. But it was a low-budget station at the time. And as a matter of fact, what I'm about to tell you really happened to me, and it was part of a Mary Tyler Moore episode with Ted Knight of what had happened to him fictionally, but it was based on a true anecdote with me. So I finished hosting my cartoons. That particular day, I was wearing a chicken outfit. And so many of you guys in the war would say, how do I get out of this chicken outfit? You remember? But this was a real chicken outfit, and it had feathers. And it was a fat chicken outfit, and there was a beak over my head, and I always have worn glasses. I never graduated to contact lenses. And it was like, so long, kids, till tomorrow. Or whatever a chicken would say in 1957 at that time. And so I started chatting in the hallway with some old friends from Omaha who had dropped in. And the stage manager says, my God, Gary, you've got 2 minutes to get out of that chicken suit and put on your, your coat and your vest and do the news. And I said, well, God, I'll never make it. There's no way, because I've got to run 100 feet down the hall So I said, well, I've got to do my job. Now, today I do it on purpose, but then I was just trying to save my job. So it came 2 o'clock in Denver, and and now Gary Owens reports the news at 2. So Gary, if you weren't looking at the television very closely, it was a little frightening. Gary is wearing a beak over his head in a chicken suit. Good afternoon, Denver. Federal mediators on Capitol Hill. So for 5 minutes, I gave a newscast wearing a chicken suit in 1957. For some reason, they fired me. I can't figure out why.